All right, welcome to Witchpolice Radio. This is an interesting episode, I think, because a lot of the time when I have guests on the show, which is every episode, obviously, but I have a way of introducing them. I have this idea in my head of, oh yeah, this is X and this is what they do. This is why this is what they do. But I think that the guest on this episode is someone that I'm aware of his work, but I don't necessarily know how to place you. You seem like a credits person to me, where I've seen the name so many times on so many records and so many projects that I'm not really sure how to actually define what you do as a musician because you have your fingers in so many different pies. So I think that the best way to start this is if you want to introduce yourself and maybe just give a bit of background about where you come from, because your name is everywhere for the past like 15 years on so many albums I have. So that's probably a good way to start.
Yeah, well, hey, I'll take that as a huge compliment. Thank you very much. Well, my name's Rusty Mattias. Thanks for having me on. And you know what? It's funny you say that. I've thought about that kind of thing too. I've had the luxury of playing in so many different projects for 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
And always kind of very briefly, and I've produced a lot of things. I've been everywhere. Like if you look back at projects from Winnipeg, I'm probably in a picture or in the background of a video somewhere. But you
Right, and
don't
I
know.
hoard that stuff. I have so many old tapes and
So do
CDs,
I.
right? And your name and your face is in so many of them. So yeah, that's why
Yeah,
it's kind of hard
and
to approach. How do I approach you? Like,
yeah, I kind of lose track too, and I think a lot of it kind of, if I just want to get right down to it, like I mean, I do have ADHD,
okay,
and I'm kind of proud of it. I just got diagnosed with it in the last year, and it's something I was looking to be defined in my brain for many years, and that is sort of like I'm all over the place.
Mhm.
I have a number of interests going on at once. I don't really like care about one genre of music more than the other or one instrument more than the other. I kind of want to play with everything and everyone and every instrument and every song and every band and in every video and anything I can do to like hang out with other artists that are making art that they enjoy has just
Yeah,
been fuel for my heart like my whole life. So I think that that's kind of I'm a multi instrumentalist and I'm a songwriter and a
yeah.
producer, and so I've been like the fifth member, the accessory member to a lot of bands, like the Sheepdogs. I was their guitar player for a few years. I replaced Liet, their previous guitar player, and I've now been replaced by somebody else.
Okay.
Um, and I was in the Weaker Thens for a number of years, playing keyboards and guitar and trumpet and singing extra vocals. Just kind of, I have a sort of, I guess, a wide range of skill, lowercase s skill,
Right.
that I can play a bunch of different things, sort of equally mediocrely, and fill a bunch of gaps for bands. And it's kind of gotten me to a bunch of really cool experiences that I've gone to in the past 20 years. And now with this Rusty Robot project, it
Right.
sort of was all kind of, I got sober 3 years ago and sort of had somebody help me in the last 6 months focus all of my crazy ideas into some sort of packageable content that I can put out there in the world as Rusty Robot. And it's really nice to be doing it now. That is
Well,
a super long introduction of
it is,
myself.
it is, but there's a lot there, right? I mean, you've been involved in so much, and so Rusty Robot. I mean, it seems this is from an outside perspective. It seems to me that it just suddenly, obviously, this isn't how it worked, but it suddenly appeared out of nowhere. All of a sudden, you were on social media, suddenly Rusty Robot. And it was a persona, and you had all of this, I don't know if you want to call it marketing behind it, but you had an idea, clearly an idea of what this was all about and the way it's being portrayed and sort of the way you wanted to put it out in the world. It seemed like that was very defined all of a sudden. And I imagine there was a lot of work that went on behind the scenes to get to that point.
Yeah, I think that it was a combination of seemingly happening all of a sudden and sort of being an extension of sort of what I'm already kind of like, which is really hyper and colorful and
Yeah.
trying to do outside of the box musical stuff like Bohemian Rhapsody, Klingon, or yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody and Klingon. And that was sort of, and that video got me a bunch of attention on CNN and it got 120,000 views so far on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it was totally an independent project just with the community members in Winnipeg. And that sort of is a good example of like what I think about space, music, ridiculous, absurd things being put
Yeah.
together in one project, and it's a lot of fun. And then I was on this. I can so yeah, I'm sort of, if you don't mind, I'm kind of walking you
Go
through the
for it.
last six
Go for
months
it.
of how this came together. And then in February, I was part of this Catalyst Music Conference where it was suggested that I submit a song for a mixing contest kind of thing, where this guy F. Reed Shippen from Nashville, who's a really big time a nine-time Grammy
Oh,
award-winning
well.
mixing engineer, was going to mix somebody's song for free that he chose, and he chose my song. That's this called "You Are a Ghost," and it's going to be the third of the 3 Rusty Robot singles this summer. So that sort of got my wheels turning. I was like, whoa, maybe I can do stuff with this old song that people seem to like, and it won this mix. And then I was on a Fringe Festival show produced by Corey Wojcik called So You Have an Idea, where it was each week 3 artists were given an idea from an audience member, 3 professional artists, quote unquote,
Right.
and they were given a week to make a piece of art based on this idea. And I was given the idea ice cream truck, and I wrote the song that week for that show, and just it turned into this fun song that I really liked, and it seemed to get kind of a response that seemed pretty genuine. And then Elise Roller, who's now my manager from Misfit Music Management, kind of reached out and said, "Hey, I noticed you're doing all of this stuff in the last year, you crazy guy. I'm called Misfit Music Management, and you seem to be missing the fitting in part." And then we talked about monikers and my interests in sci-fi and space and robots and Rusty Robot. It just fell into place, really, and it felt great. And now here we are.
And now Rusty Robot is a living, breathing entity.
Yeah. And like involved in this whole rollout is rolling things out on the internet, which is a new experience for me as a somebody who hasn't put out music in like 10 years. Of my own. So really have to have an online presence on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and all the different pages. And I literally had a schedule for the last month and a half of every day. This is the content I'm posting about. Tomorrow we're going to reveal this part of the thing.
Oh, cool.
And it's sort of like we really had a plan to engage people and reveal things one step at a time, because there was a lot to this ice cream truck video.
Right. Well, and especially because people know you from so many different projects anyway, right? Someone knows you maybe from the Uyghur Den, someone knows you from, I mean, the number of bands is endless, right? So
I forgot to mention Imaginary Cities, which was like my other original band.
Of course, yeah. So I mean, that's probably where I think of you being from the most, is because that was your band, right? But so people know you from that band, or they know you from this band, or from this band. So I imagine it's kind of hard almost to sell you as this new thing, because you don't have this sort of one identity within the music scene. It's not like you're going from a solo record under your own name to suddenly now there's the robot identity. This is just like all of a sudden this name everyone's seen so many times or seen backing someone up on stage is now front and center. Do you feel comfortable in that role, like being this focal point of the project?
It's a learning curve of processing the experience, for sure. I mean, I've had the security blanket of being the producer behind the glass, helping people make their music, and then they go out and be vulnerable in the world.
Yeah.
And this time, I'm the guy being vulnerable in the world, and it's notable. It's definitely notable. There was a Free Press article that came out this morning, and I had butterflies in my stomach last night before I went to bed, because suddenly it's like, well, when I have control over my Instagram feed flow, I know exactly what I'm going to say, and I can be as stupid and silly as I want. And then now it's real, and and I want to make sure I do it right, because I've made mistakes in the past, and I've been an alcoholic, and I've been ungrateful, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm really grateful to have these opportunities now, and I'm looking forward to be diving into them with a new perspective and trying to see what I can do with them and give back to them and keep it going, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I mean, right now they seem to be looking up as far as the pandemic is concerned. Shows are starting to happen again slowly. What has the experience been like for you to do all of this during a pandemic? Because it's such a weird time for everyone, and I mean, to launch not only new music but a whole new project.
It's like we're reverse engineering what the music industry is like here. Like I'm releasing a single. I've never played a show. I don't have a band. I don't have an album. I literally have one song right now.
Yeah,
that's unheard of, is it not? But I have a show booked, pretty much, not for certain, but it's pretty much in the works for next March. So we're putting all these pieces together and then filling in the blanks as we go. And because we've been in isolation, I've been in my basement for the last year, just like everyone else.
Yeah,
having to be creative and extra imaginative and thusly, like my music does not have a genre, I don't think, right now. Anyway, Ice Cream Truck, I can't pigeonhole. It sounds like How Bizarre by OMC to me.
I would
Which I
not have thought of
love.
that comparison, but I listened to it like again right before we did this call, and somehow that makes sense.
It's a
I would
trumpet.
never have thought of it though, but it makes sense somehow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, maybe that's that's the question everyone hates to answer, right? Is like, how do you define what your music is sonically? And I know you have the one song, but you obviously have other ideas and other songs that have been in the works. Not without giving it a label, like where are these songs coming from? I guess what is the inspiration behind this new music that you're making? Maybe an easier way to get around it than just slapping a sticker on it saying this is pop or this is rock or whatever.
No, I love that question because I think more than ever too, like music seems a little bit more genreless than ever.
Yeah.
No, there's no reason to pigeonhole yourself into one category of sounds. And I don't know. For me, sorry, re-ask that question. What is my genre? Is that what you're kind of asking?
I was trying to step around that question. So
yeah.
I guess where are the songs coming from?
Yeah. Like I think in the last couple of years, I've leaned into wearing my influences and inspirations on my sleeve a little bit more and not trying to hide them or shy away from them. I love Weezer. The third single sounds like effing Weezer. It's great. And yeah, just sort of not questioning myself, not worrying about whether the cool kids will think it's cool. You know, do I enjoy it? Does my wife enjoy it? Do I think it? And actually, how does it leave me feeling afterwards? Am I saying something important enough that it sounds like I really mean it? I never thought of this shit before when I was making music like 20 years ago. I totally should have.
It seems like an important aspect of it, right?
Yeah, and sort of however it comes out. Like, so this first song is like How Bizarre, OMC. The third song is like Matthew Sweet, Where You Get Love meets Weezer.
Okay.
And then this middle song is like Beck meets, I don't know, All the Young Dudes or something.
Okay.
Like,
okay. It's an interesting column.
I don't know. I'm just making songs that sound like other epic music I love. I really enjoy the like the science behind musical movements and how it affects our emotions. And I think that kind of goes back to what I was saying about how only now I'm kind of paying attention to the lyrics that I'm putting into music. For so many years, I just didn't ever listen to the lyrics. And I didn't realize that everyone else did. And so I'm always been waiting for like a musical movement or a melodic movement to a minor chord to like bring me to tears. And so when I'm writing, like I'm usually like I'm usually like looking for those musical movements that actually give me shivers. And however that comes out in whatever instrument.
Right. Well, and you've got a lot of them that you play as we've established.
Well, I play. Yeah, I play them. Yeah.
You do play them, yeah. I guess maybe a better way to sort of get around the genre issue, because I have a problem where I like to file everyone away in my head in some category or another, and I realize that, like you said, the world is becoming less categorized, less genre, which is great. I mean, it means that people are getting influence from so many different areas that maybe they wouldn't have 10 years ago because they have so much more access to everything now, which is awesome. But I guess who is this music for? Do you have an idea? Is it just you're happy to just put it out as yourself and then it's fine? Or do you have sort of an idea of who's listening to this and who you want to speak to with this?
You just led me into a great answer, I think, that I got for that. No, I think that I have started approaching music differently in that I approach it as an equal audience member as the people I'm making the music for. Like, I also want to go, wow, isn't this just a silly, that's crazy that we're singing this way or whatever. I feel like I'm not making music to prove my skill or anything like that. It's not about showing off anything about me anymore. It's about opening myself up to emotion and vulnerability to let everyone know that they're welcome in my world.
Okay.
That sounds really cheesy, but
no, it makes sense.
That's actually how I approach it now. Yeah.
That's cool. Well, and the one thing I noticed too about like with the ice cream video is that you have, I'm guessing anyway, based on your long experience in the music scene, you have a pretty good Rolodex of local musicians to call when you want some help. I mean, that video has got a number of high profile Winnipeggers in it, and I assume I'm expecting that there'll be other ones that also have other notable artists making appearances. So I guess, like, how did you choose? First of all, who's in the video for those who haven't seen it?
Well, the videos, it's great. So for the video, it has Al Simmons, legendary children's
Yeah,
entertainer Al Simmons, who was also on the show So You Have an Idea with me. He had to write a song as well
okay.
on a different week. But we had met during that show, so that just kind of made sense. I networked with Mr. Simmons, and then I reached out and said, "Would you please be on my song?" And also has Mise en Scene is on the song, and they are like a garage rock band from Winnipeg, who we all know and love. I've known and loved them forever.
Yeah, good band for sure.
And then DJ Honeycutt is also on it. And then Duchess Cayetano made a set of like choreographed dance moves, like very specific to the song, just like the Macarena or whatever.
Yeah.
And she was also on that So You Have an Idea show as well. So it kind of, this whole thing was sort of born out of that show, and it just sort of made sense to draw from the people I got to meet in that week and keep that sort of vibe flowing. And yeah.
So is Rusty Robot going to be bringing more well-known friends onto other songs, other videos?
I think so. I think that is sort of the beauty of the way we sort of decided to launch this thing, was that it is sort of so open-ended that I'm this kooky guy and I'll do whatever. I have no dignity, and well, you know what I mean. And but like I'm sort of willing to do whatever and try things out and see how far we can take a certain idea. And yeah, I'm super open to sort of like over the top experimental musical ideas with other people in the city, and always reaching out to I'm sort of like a pretty squeaky wheel when it comes to reaching out to people, like hence like these sweatcetos I wear and the Heinz ketchup I had and stuff like that. So that's sort of like, that's just all I do is I reach out to people and I'm sincere, and I say, hey, Mr. Simmons, would you please be on my song? I really respect you and I appreciate your time. And I'm always eager to just include other people on the music. So I would see more of that happening.
That's cool. Well, that's always a cool way for other people to get into it too, right? If someone's a Mise en Scene fan and they discover they're on the song, it's like, oh, I'll check this out, and then hey, maybe they become Rusty Robot fans too, right? So you have the tentacles reaching out to all of the different local.
But that's also sort of that could be looked at two different ways. Like that is sort of like the old perspective me would have been like, ooh, I can get Mise en Scene on it and really milk their fans. But the new perspective me is like, I love Mise en Scene. I want them on my song. I want to be with them in my song because I love them. Not what can I get out of it. Like it's like it's about love for them. You know what I mean?
It's cool.
I love it.
There's also, if I'm not mistaken, you have an actual ice cream component to this, right? I mean, there's actually you have a connection with an ice cream company.
Oh, there are so many components to this. Yeah, with Shea Ban Ice Cream in Winnipeg, in South Osborne, they created a key lime pie flavored ice cream, and they're awesome. I didn't really know much about Shea Ban before we reached out and said who would make an ice cream flavor for this song.
Okay.
And they jumped on board right away, and then we came up with a flavor, and they are giving us the proceeds, of which we are being able to give 25% of that to Bear Clan.
Oh, cool! That's awesome. Yeah.
So and I think that they're selling batches all summer for that, and I'm not really sure, but they already sold out of one batch. It's going really great. Yeah.
What's the flavor?
Key lime pie.
Okay, right. You said that. Yeah. How does one decide a flavor? Like, what is the process of deciding?
We had a meeting. We did have a meeting, and I had a whole list of daydream flavors, like a kid would. If you say, oh, they're gonna make you whatever flavor you like, Rusty. Of course,
it's a lot of pressure. Actually, I think I have too many choices.
Peanut butter cups, like dark chocolates and cherries. Like I had everything. But then we settled on key lime pie because that's a really simple flavor to make, and I wanted it to be green, actually, just so it was colorful.
Okay.
It was either like spinach or key lime pie, and key lime pie.
This might be all right.
It's actually, I think it's colored with spinach juice.
Oh, really? Okay, that makes sense. So you do have a bit of spinach in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's all natural ingredients they use there. It's a really great store.
I've been there before. They have. I don't eat dairy, and they have some really good non-dairy ice cream there, which is good. So it's nice to be able to have ice cream and not feel like I'm dying inside is excellent. What's sort of the plan? I know obviously this is something that's in the works. Slowly, you said you have a show booked kind of in the future here, but what is the plan once the pandemic, hopefully it ends, right? What would be the first thing you want to do once you're able to go out and do more sort of with other collaborators or be out in the public doing Rusty Robot type events, things like that, what would be the plan? What would you rather want to do sort of right out of the gate?
Well, I think the first thing I've been thinking about lately is how to put a live show together for sure,
Yeah.
and who to have in the band, and what songs to play, how what songs to write to put into this,
Right,
to fill out a whole set,
yeah.
and sort of I've actually been thinking a lot about having different multimedia elements in the show as well, um, more so than just having four people on stage with instruments,
Yeah.
like have some visuals and or some comedy or like some loop things that we maybe some educational stuff about how to build a song in real time with
Cool.
the audience, some sort of interactive stuff. And I know that inside your head you might be rolling your eyes really hard right now, but I bet you it'll be entertaining. It's amazing in my head.
Yeah. But there's value to that too, right? I mean, to go to a show and not only sit there watching four people play instruments and until it ends, but having an actual component you can learn from and enjoy on multiple levels.
Yeah, I'm thinking somewhere between like rock show and TED Talk.
Right.
I'm gonna make it work.
Yeah. It's a cool idea. It's unique anyway. I mean, I think you have a leg up in terms of I don't think anyone else in the city is doing that. So.
Yeah, I don't know why.
No, it's a cool idea for sure. Do you foresee this? Well, first of all, I guess is there going to be an actual record released at the end of this once you've released sort of all your singles individually?
I think that's sort of, yeah. I think that would be the goal. We've sort of talked about having a full record's worth of songs that we eventually put on out as a vinyl, or a full record. And I say vinyl because that's all I really care about getting is my vinyl.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah.
And then, sort of just having this vehicle, Rusty Robot, as an umbrella moniker or whatever, to sort of do whatever with, and sort of put my sort of official stamp out there as I'm an artist and I'm here to do stuff. And I'm not sure what that, like I've been doing some voiceover work and I'm just interested in doing all kinds of stuff. And like, it's all really tons of fun. And all we ever all do right now is digest content 24 hours a day. And if I can be a part of making it, that's the most fun.
Yeah,
for sure.
It is the best part. Yeah, for sure. Do you think this will have a tour or anything like that, or is it meant to be more of a recording thing?
You know what? I've out for like 20 years. You know the band Air?
Yes, the French band.
The French band, and they did the Virgin Suicides soundtrack.
Right. Yeah.
They're one of my favorite bands ever. I just love their like cinematic quality. Like they're all over the map. Like, just really great stuff. And I believe I read a long time ago that they just don't tour. They just make these great albums, and they just that's their career. And that's just been this daydream of mine, this unachievable dream forever, that like you could make albums and like not live out of a suitcase constantly. I mean, I'm sure it can be great, but I've traveled a lot and I'm tired too. So, but if there's the opportunity to tour again, it's been a long time and I would definitely do it again. And of course, yes, I'm going to tour. Yes, definitely.
And this is a different way of looking at it too, right? Because this is your project now. You're not touring with someone else's band or backing someone up. You can do the tour how you want it, I guess, right? But every aspect of it can be sort of planned out.
The sky's the limit, really. I'm sort of really open to anything, and if the opportunity makes me go, then I'll go, okay, let's do it.
Yeah. Well, I guess maybe a similar question is vaguely related question anyway, is how stripped down can this be to actually perform live? Because there's a lot going on in the songs. It seems like you would need at least a few people to be backing you up, but is it possible to do this with like a really limited number of people and still have these songs come out the way you want them to?
I'm glad you asked. I think so for sure. I mean, I've done things before where you either have a loop playing underneath you, or you have some backing tracks.
Yeah.
And that's just lots of bands have them. It's not a big deal. But also, I'm glad you asked, because just the other day I held up my acoustic guitar and played Ice Cream Truck because I knew that this was going to happen. At some point, I'm going to have to play this song. Like for once, the first time. And I should see if I can. And you know what? It sounds great on an acoustic guitar. It came out of my mouth pretty easy.
Cool.
And, So yes, I'm confident it can be done.
That's good to hear.
But yeah, that's a good question though. Like, is it a 3-piece band? Is it a 5-piece band? Are there horns?
Yeah.
Do we do the Sloan thing? And when we play live, we just go ba 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 ba.
Yeah.
Ba, ba, ba. Or do we hire Rusty when we come through Winnipeg and he plays the trumpet shittily on your stage? Anyway, I'm digressing. Sorry.
No, this is cool. So
The options are endless. Yeah, I'm excited to see how the live show comes together. Yeah, it'll come.
Where can people find this right now? I mean, I know by the time this comes out, there'll be at least the one song out, potentially more. The good thing about this being a podcast is that people could hear it a year from now, and by then could have a whole, albums with the songs out. Who knows, right? So, what's the best way to sort of track you down and look into what it is you're doing and watch the videos as they come out, things like that?
Well, Instagram is at rustyrobot_101001.
Okay.
Which is 41 in binary.
Right.
Binary code. Or rustymatius.ca. Or rustyrobot.ca. Rusty Mattias is just my full name.
Right.
Rustyrobot.ca or Rusty Robot on the Facebook page. Yeah, just Instagram, Facebook. And on the Instagram, there's a big link thing on my bio that I just discovered how to make.
I saw that today.
You can go to all those places right from there. It's actually really convenient.
Yeah. Right on. And then the song itself, is it available on any of the streaming things that people use? Or okay.
Yeah, you can go to Bandcamp and purchase it for $1 or donate like $100 if you want to.
Whatever you feel like. Yeah.
You can go to Spotify and please follow me on Spotify. I think that's what I'm supposed to say, and Apple Music and wherever you stream, I think is where it's available now.
Cool.
And YouTube.
Well, the video, obviously, you want to check that out, right? I don't want to spend too much time talking about this because, but I need to bring it up again before we end here. Is that the Klingon thing? I know in a different venue I've talked to you at length about this, and but I don't want to go over it all again. But I think that is like you said, it became very popular, and you got a lot of views on that thing. Can you just, for people who haven't seen it yet, explain what it is? Because it's such a cool project, and it's really great to see it getting as much attention as it has, because it's such a weird thing that seems like it could only be made by Winnipeggers for some reason. So what is it for those who haven't seen it?
Okay, thank you. So about a year, just over a year ago, I released a video of Bohemian Rhapsody that myself and a group of Winnipeggers recorded from scratch in studio here at Paintbox Recording. Bohemian Rhapsody in the language of Klingon. And it's got extra orchestration. So it's got harp, it's got theremin, it's got extra cellos and violins. And full on, Ian Cameron is like this musical theater legend who sings it. He sounds like the Phantom of the freaking Opera.
Yeah, it's a cool voice, yeah.
It sounds brilliant. Like it sounds like a huge epic level, like Queen level production, but silly sci-fi town. And yeah, CNN reached out and did a story about it. And Mark Okrand, who invented Klingon, reached out to say we did a good job. Cool. And we were going to do the video originally at the Park Theater, shot for shot, like the original Bohemian Rhapsody video with the 4 heads, but with extra 4 heads.
Yeah.
Them now. But then COVID hit, and we just did it at home video style. And everyone just sent in their most creative Klingon-y, Star Trek-y, sci-fi home videos. And it was kind of right at the beginning of COVID, so everyone was sort of extra into being creative and being a part of this like isolation style coming together in a YouTube video thing. And it's really special to me that it happened right at the beginning of COVID. We made it happen anyway, and it's living on in this. There's comments on it every day. I'm responding, and I love that. And it's so few that I can actually respond personally to these people, and I love it. It's so great. I'm connecting with nerds around the world every day.
That's kind of awesome. Well, and the DIY-ness of it, I think, is what makes the video so great too. Is all of those bits cobbled together from different people at home doing their own COVID thing. It makes it
costumes falling off.
Yeah. The question I was going to ask about that is, I mean, first of all, everyone should check that out. I'll put a link to it in the show notes too, because it's definitely worth watching. But is there any possibility that can take you somewhere in some weird Star Trek direction? Because I know there's such a deep fandom for that show and for all iterations of that show. Like, are you able to take that Star Trek thing on the road in any way, or build that into something bigger?
Oh, yeah, believe me, I've thought about it all the time. Like, as we were making, I was thinking to myself, surely I'm just going to play at a Comic-Con every weekend for the rest of my life. Yeah. That hasn't happened yet. I haven't even had one call. Yeah. But yeah, for sure, I would love to do that. What's that?
The timing is COVID, so maybe it'll change. But yeah, I feel like anyone who's remotely connected to that series, even if it's like a guy who's holding a mic in one scene on one episode, they have some celebrity status now within that, the conference going, community. And yeah, it seems like they're
Yeah, well, somebody from Deep Space Nine shared it as well. Like
Okay.
it's reached some Star Trekian faces, and yeah, I've talked to Ian who sang it. He lives in Kelowna now, or around there,
Okay.
and we've still talking. Yes, we will go to Comic Cons and play this. Of course, I'd love to. It's such a difficult song, though. I don't
Yeah,
know
no
how we
doubt. Yeah.
pull that off.
Yeah.
The studio was very helpful
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
making it sound so good.
Maybe next time take like a Ramon song and do that in Klingon or something. It's really easy.
Yeah, no kidding. And just sing it the exact same way, and nobody will know the difference.
Right on.